The gate was shut, but in front of it was an open vestibule with a sofa on either side. "Here," said Noureddin, "let us pass the night." And reclining on the sofas, they soon fell asleep. Now, this garden belonged to the Caliph. In the middle of it was a vast pavilion, whose superb saloon had 80 windows, each window having a luster, lit solely when the Caliph spent the evening there. Only the doorkeeper lived there, an old soldier named Sheikh Ibrahim, who had strict orders to be very careful whom he admitted, and never to allow anyone to sit on the sofas by the door. It happened that evening that he had gone out on an errand. When he came back and saw 2 persons asleep on the sofas, he was about to drive them out with blows, but drawing nearer he perceived that they were a handsome young man and beautiful young woman, and decided to awake them by gentler means. Noureddin, on being awoke, told the old man that they were strangers, and merely wished to pass the night there. "Come with me," said Sheikh Ibrahim. "I will lodge you better, and will show you a magnificent garden belonging to me." So saying, the doorkeeper led the way into the Caliph's garden, the beauties of which filled them with wonder and amazement. Noureddin took out 2 gold pieces, and giving them to Sheikh Ibrahim said, "I beg you to get us something to eat, that we may make merry together." Being very avaricious, Sheikh Ibrahim determined to spend only the 10th part of the money, and to keep the rest to himself. While he was gone, Noureddin and the Persian wandered through the gardens, and went up the white marble staircase of the pavilion as far as the locked door of the saloon. On the return of Sheikh Ibrahim, they begged him to open it, and to allow them to enter and admire the magnificence within. Consenting, he brought not only the key, but a light, and immediately unlocked the door. Noureddin and the Persian entering were dazzled with the magnificence they beheld. The paintings and furniture were of astonishing beauty, and between each window was a silver arm holding a candle. Sheikh Ibrahim spread the table in front of a sofa, and all 3 ate together. When they had finished eating, Noureddin asked the old man to bring them a bottle of wine. "Heaven forbid," said Sheikh Ibrahim, "that I should come in contact with wine. I, who have 4 times made the pilgrimage to Mecca, and have renounced wine forever. You would, however, do us a great service in procuring us some," said Noureddin. "You need not touch it yourself. Take the ass which is tied to the gate, lead it to the nearest wine shop, and ask some passerby to order 2 jars of wine. Have them put in the ass's panniers, and drive him before you. Here are 2 pieces of gold for the expenses." At sight of the gold, Sheikh Ibrahim set off at once to execute the commission. On his return, Noureddin said, "We have still need of cups to drink from, and of fruit, if you can procure us some." Sheikh Ibrahim disappeared again, and soon returned with a table spread with cups of gold and silver, and every sort of beautiful fruit. Then he withdrew, in spite of repeated invitations to remain. Noureddin and the beautiful Persian, finding the wine excellent, drank of it freely, and while drinking, they sang. Both had fine voices, and Sheikh Ibrahim listened to them with great pleasure. First from a distance, then he drew nearer, and finally put his head in at the door. Noureddin, seeing him, called to him to come in and keep them company. At first the old man declined, but was persuaded to enter the room, to sit down on the edge of the sofa nearest the door, and at last to draw closer, and to seat himself by the beautiful Persian, who urged him so persistently to drink her health, that at length he yielded, and took the cup she offered. Now the old man only made a pretense of renouncing wine. He frequented wine shops like other people, and had taken none of the precautions Noureddin had proposed. Having once yielded, he was easily persuaded to take a second cup and a third, and so on, till he no longer knew what he was doing. Till near midnight they continued drinking, laughing, and singing together. About that time, the Persian, perceiving that the room was lit by only one miserable tallow candle, asked Sheikh Ibrahim to light some of the beautiful candles in the silver arms. "Light them yourself," answered the old man. "You are younger than I, but let 5 or 6 be enough." She did not stop, however, till she had lit all the 80. But Sheikh Ibrahim was not conscious of this, and when, soon after that, Noureddin proposed to have some of the lustres lit, he answered, "You are more capable of lighting them than I, but not more than 3. Noureddin, far from contenting himself with 3, lit all and opened all the 80 windows. The Caliph, Harun al-Raschid, chancing at that moment to open a window in the saloon of his palace, looking on the garden, was surprised to see the pavilion brilliantly illuminated. Calling the Grand Vizier Giafar, he said to him, "Negligent Vizier, look at the pavilion and tell me why it is lit up when I am not there." When the Vizier saw that it was as the Caliph said, he trembled with fear and immediately invented an excuse. "Commander of the Faithful," he said, "I must tell you that 4 or 5 days ago, Sheikh Ibrahim told me that he wished to have an assembly of the ministers of his mosque and asked permission to hold it in the pavilion. I granted his request, but forgot since to mention it to your majesty." "Giafar," replied the Caliph, "you have committed 3 faults. First, in giving the permission. Second, in not mentioning it to me. And third, in not investigating the matter more closely. For punishment, I condemn you to spend the rest of the night with me, in company of these worthy people. While I dress myself as a citizen, go and disguise yourself, and then come with me." When they reached the garden gate, they found it open, to the great indignation of the Caliph. The door of the pavilion being also open, he went softly upstairs and looked in at the half-closed door of the saloon. Great was his surprise to see Sheikh Ibrahim, whose sobriety he had never doubted, drinking and singing with a young man and a beautiful lady. The Caliph, before giving way to his anger, determined to watch and see who the people were and what they did. Presently, Sheikh Ibrahim asked the beautiful Persian if anything were wanting to complete her enjoyment of the evening. "If only," she said, "I had an instrument upon which I might play." Sheikh Ibrahim immediately took a lute from a cupboard and gave it to the Persian, who began to play on it, singing the while with such skill and taste that the Caliph was enchanted. When she ceased, he went softly downstairs and said to the Vizier, "Never have I heard a finer voice, nor the lute better played. I am determined to go in and make her play to me." "Commander of the Faithful," said the Vizier, "if Sheikh Ibrahim recognizes you, he will die of fright." "I should be sorry for that," answered the Caliph, "and I am going to take steps to prevent it. Wait here till I return." Now the Caliph had caused a bend in the river to form a lake in his garden. There the finest fish in the Tigris were to be found, but fishing was strictly forbidden. It happened that night, however, that a fisherman had taken advantage of the gate being open to go in and cast his nets. He was just about to draw them when he saw the Caliph approaching. Recognizing him at once in spite of his disguise, he threw himself at his feet, imploring forgiveness. "Fear nothing," said the Caliph, "only rise up and draw thy nets." The fisherman did as he was told, and produced 5 or 6 fine fish, of which the Caliph took the 2 largest. Then he desired the fisherman to change clothes with him, and in a few minutes the Caliph was transformed into a fisherman, even to the shoes and the turban. Taking the 2 fish in his hand, he returned to the Vizier, who, not recognizing him, would have sent him about his business. Leaving the vizier at the foot of the stairs, the Caliph went up and knocked at the door of the saloon. Noureddin opened it, and the Caliph, standing on the threshold, said, "Sheikh Ibrahim, I am the fisher Karim. Seeing that you are feasting with your friends, I bring you these fish,